Jindal said it, why should we destroy the healthcare system we have? Totally destroy it by adding a public option which will not allow insurance companies to be able to compete in a fair marketplace. What really lowers prices is lower taxes, more competition, less regulations. And he said one big thing that the Democrats aren't even addressing, because most of them are lawyers, but tort reform. A lot of reason, insurance, doctors' visits are so high is because it's so easy to sue a doctor for medical malpractice, and sometimes that's needed, but they can, the doctors have to get malpractice insurance, which raises prices. There needs to be a cap of how much the patient can get from these. There just needs to be reform in that area, and the Democrats aren't addressing that at all. Not even at all. And that's one major problem that is not being addressed. So basically you have two sides. You have one side that's just help the marketplace, get government out of the way, get regulations out of the way, do some tax cutting reforms. You have the other side, Obama's side, which is create more government, spend more government money that we don't have, which is create massive bureaucracies, 2,000-page bill, all these new laws and regulations. Remember, he said require, force people who don't even want health insurance. Well, you have to buy it. In a free country, you have to do this. So those are basically the two sides, and I'm going to play you a song here. So we'll take a break, and when we get back, I'm going to give you one other person's final opinion. The person who really nails it on the head, and this speech is actually from the 60s, but he was sort of prophetic in seeing all this coming. And he really gets to the heart of what this debate is about, and he really gets to the point. I want you to hear that. You're listening to the Michael Yaffee program, WNSC.UCF. Remember, if you want to instant message me, you can, Radio WNSC. I am here every Saturday, 2 to 3, and I'm here every Monday, 6:30 to 7:30. Tell your friends. Find me on Facebook. I can give you a recording of the show. You're listening to Michael Yaffee program, WNSC.UCF.edu, online radio. You're listening to the Michael Yaffee program, WNSC.UCF.edu, online radio. And once again, I thank you for joining me today. I just wanted to play you one more point of view, and it's from my favorite president of all time, Ronald Reagan. And it's actually, before he was president, a 1964 radio address when he really gets to the point of this healthcare problem. And I know I'm focusing on healthcare a lot in this show, but they're debating on it today in Congress. The vote's going to come sooner and sooner, and I figured you wanted both sides. I figured you wanted my opinion. I figured you wanted to know what's at stake. And that's one thing Reagan really addresses in this radio address, because they were trying to do it back then. And he says why you cannot allow a government option. You cannot allow government-run healthcare. You just can't allow it. So let's see what he has to say. I'm sure you care much more about his opinion than mine. So
back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program. There are many ways in which our government has invaded the precincts of private citizens, the method of earning a living. Our government is in business to the extent of owning more than 19,000 businesses covering 47 different lines of activity. This amounts to a fifth of the total industrial capacity of the United States. But at the moment, I'd like to talk about another way, because this threat is with us and at the moment is more imminent. One of the traditional methods of imposing statism or socialism on a people has been by way of medicine. It's very easy to disguise a medical program as a humanitarian project. Most people are a little reluctant to oppose anything that suggests medical care for people who possibly can't afford it. Now, the American people, if you put it to them about socialized medicine and gave them a chance to choose, would unhesitatingly vote against it. We had an example of this under the Truman administration. It was proposed that we have a compulsory health insurance program for all people in the United States, and of course the American people unhesitatingly rejected this. So, with the American people on record as not wanting socialized medicine, Congressman Farrand introduced the Farrand Bill. This was the idea that all people of Social Security age should be brought under a program of compulsory health insurance. Now, this would not only be our senior citizens, this would be the dependents and those who are disabled. This would be young people if they are dependents of someone eligible for Social Security. Now, Congressman Farrand brought the program out on that idea of just for that particular group of people. But Congressman Ferrand was subscribing to this foot-in-the-door philosophy because he said, if we can only break through and get our foot inside the door, then
philosophy.
we can expand the program after that.
This is what's wrong with the public option
said,
now.
It's no secret that the United Automobile Workers is officially on record as backing a program of national health insurance. And by national health insurance, he meant socialized medicine for every American. Well, let's see what the socialists themselves had to say about it. They say, once the Ferrand bill is passed, this nation will be provided with a mechanism for socialized medicine capable of indefinite expansion in every direction until it includes the entire population. Well, we can't say we haven't been warned. Now, Congressman Ferrand is no longer a congressman of the United States government. He has been replaced, not in his particular assignment, but in his backing of such a bill by Congressman King of California. It is presented in the idea of a great emergency that millions of our senior citizens are unable to provide needed medical care. But this ignores the fact that in the last decade, 127 million of our citizens, in just 10 years, have come under the protection of some form of privately owned medical or hospital insurance. Now the advocates of this under the protection of some form of privately owned medical or hospital insurance. Now the advocates of this have come under the protection of some form of privately owned medical or hospital insurance.
Oh, well, that is disappointing because it just stopped.
Now the advocates of this section of...
It's not letting me go past this. Okay, well, you sort of get the point. It's really disappointing because he makes some really, really good points. Well, basically what he's talking about, and this is back then, so this debate's going on for a while, he was basically talking about the idea that once you try to get that foot in the door, once you have socialism get its foot in the door, see, that's what this public option really is. That's what the Obama got in the Nancy Pelosi public option is. It's a way to get the foot in the door so they can expand nationalized medicine from that. These people, Obama said himself, he is a proponent of a single-payer healthcare system, which is a national healthcare system. That is totally un-American. If they don't have the constitutional authority to do anything like that, and I've gone over that in this show, you can read the Constitution, it isn't there. Why can't we just believe in the free market? Why can't we believe, I mean, Reagan said back then, 127 million people have found insurance through private insurance. Now it's much larger than that. Think about us having the greatest healthcare insurance. Think about all the innovations that would be crushed when it's taken away from the free market. Think about that. And I'm sorry that the CD didn't work. I thought it was going to work. Maybe I'll play it on another show. Well, right now I'll just play a song, and then we'll wrap up. You were listening to the Michael Yaffee program, wnsc.ucf.edu, online radio. You're listening to the Michael Yaffee program, wnsc.ucf.edu, online radio. I thank you guys for joining me today. I will post this show up on Facebook and YouTube, so send me an email if you want the links. I want to end the show today by saying the end of Reagan's speech. That speech I just played that didn't play all the way through. I do the transcript here, and I wanted to share with you what he said at the end because I think it's crucial. I think it's important. But I want to let you know also I will be back here Monday. I'm here every Monday, 6:30 to 7:30. We'll get back to some more issues. We'll see what the House did in their debates today over this, and hopefully we will do our part in beating back this healthcare mess. This is what Reagan said, and I leave it with you today. Write those letters now. Call your friends and tell them to write them. If you don't, this program I promise you will pass just as surely as the sun will come up tomorrow, and behind it will come other federal programs that will invade every area of freedom as we have known it in this country. Until one day, as Norman Thomas said, we will awake to find that we have socialism. And if you don't do this, and I don't do it, one of these days you and I are going to spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in America when men were free. Thank you guys for listening today. I want you to think about that.